Modi must have told you very clearly about how to grow in Sahajog, because he is one of them who has really taken very positive steps to see that he grows. Now, one has to understand one simple point about realization is that just mere awakening of the Kundalini is not sufficient. That's just the beginning. You get your realization, but you must become the tree. You have to grow. You have to become. If you cannot grow, then you have not achieved what you wanted to be. And you grow very fast with meditation and with understanding about meditation. Now, one of the few hurdles that we have, that I have seen it, that are innately built in Sahajog itself. One of them is that you get it spontaneously so easily that you take it for granted. This is in the pattern of it only innately built. You see, whatever you get so easily, you just take it for granted. But the another side of it is like that when you have your eyes, you don't know the value of your eyes. You take it for granted. But when you don't have them, then you know the value of eyes. It's like that. So, when you lose vibrations and when you get out of Sahajog, then you start feeling much more lost. And then you come back to Sahajog again. Like a person becomes rich, he enjoys the riches, and then you make him poor, then he feels it more. So this is the correcting point. But it is very true that Sahajoga has this thing innately built in itself, that it all happens very spontaneously and you get it for doing nothing at all. So maybe so many of you may lose it because you might find that it is just you've got it because of something. I have also known of people, they get vibrations and they say, now it's all right, I don't need Sahajog, I'm on my own. Again they are back like bad pennies with some troubles and some problems, and then they go ahead. Now I would say that Modi is one of those first 12 people who got realization. After 2 years I worked on them, while you got realization in such a short time. 2 years I worked on 25 people, out of which 12 got realization. You can imagine, 2 years. As I told you, in London I worked on 6 people for 4 years to give them realization. But once a certain number of people of a particular ideologies or permutations and combinations, once they get realization, I find the rate of realization increases very fast. Like formerly, we never used to have anybody in the program who has been to any other guru. Just avoid them. Even up to the point that this Modi himself used to tell people there's no program today, no program. And they would ring me up and find out that there was program and why they were not allowed. They said, Mother, we get headaches, you see, they break our necks and they just disturb us, they are good for nothing. But now, it's very different. Once we have built up our strength of collectivity, we have so many channels, things are working out very differently. So the value that Modi would attach to his realization is much more than you would attach normally. Because as you see, first even say to have an ordinary oil lamp was a problem. So the oil lamp was very important for people. They would see to it that they would not use out all the oil and they were so careful. But today we have no problem. We have got electricity, we take it for granted. Only when the electricity goes off we know what is electricity is. In the same way, your realization also, when it is lost, you understand the value of it. But supposing you have just touched it and then you lose it, then you do not understand. But if you have got it, you have enjoyed it, and then you lose it, then you want it back again. So best thing is to be steadily moving towards your evolution. Now, after I go away, that's the fears people have here, that people start doubting. Said it happened with people. They started doubting. Doubting what? You are doubting yourself is the main point. You cannot believe that you can get realization. This is the basic. You see, to me, it seems that you feel that how can you get realization? Only those who are very highly realized souls know that you are realized. They know that you have been given realization. But they also sometimes ask me, why did you give them realization? What have they done? Because you also think that, we still have to look forward to something else. How can we get realization? This is the trouble. You don't believe in yourself. That's what, you have to have confidence in yourself. And then you will have confidence in me also. Because there are so many ways by which you can verify. First of all, you can ask questions to the photograph or to me in your heart about myself, my relationship, whatever you think could be, whatever you think, put your imagination and see that what you think I could have been. Ask that question. Your vibrations will answer. Stretch your imagination to the last. What could be the last word you could think of me? You see, some people will put doubts saying that Kundalini awakening is very difficult, it's not easy. Yes, it's true. It's not easy. It's a very difficult thing for human beings. You just can't do it. It's a fact. You have to work for days with some guru in some jungle, all alone, seeing nobody, working out your chakras by chakras. Sometimes you have to starve, sometimes you have to eat, sometimes you have to breathe, you have to do all kinds of things, and then the guru can work out. But there could be someone who is somehow the master. Could be someone. Kundalini is the Holy Ghost within it. So there could be someone like that who can do the job. And that is what it is. These things put you into doubts because you can't believe it. In relation to yourself, you can't believe it. You can believe in God, you can believe in Holy Ghost, you can believe in Christ, but you cannot believe that it has any relationship with you, that you could be that great, that you could get your realization. So just feel it and enjoy it. First of all, don't think. That's why I say don't think. Because as soon as you start thinking, Mr. Thomas in you will get up and say that, hello, this cannot be self-realization. Mr. Thomas was great, you see. Christ had all the disciples, and I find all those types around, permutations and combinations. And some are Judas also, but they are rarely to be found. But there are, no doubt. And some are Thomases. And these Thomases are described as murmuring souls by Christ himself. He said these are murmuring souls, and they murmur. And one murmuring soul comes to you, another murmuring soul in you joins hands, and you start all murmuring together, start thinking. Now at that time, what have we to do on rational grounds? It's very simple. What have I done so far? I've done everything. Did I get cool breeze? Did I get my self-realization? Did I feel my own powers? Have I been able to feel myself and others? Because you are still, you see, not fully realized, you may not be able to feel the vibrations of another person. Neither you will be able to feel your own vibrations. But there are so many people here who are realized and they can feel yours. And they can verify. Supposing they ask you, How is your father? There was one gentleman in England, he came and told me, why everybody is asking me about my father? I said, because there's one particular center that's catching. And I called a child, I said, now tell me, what is the center catching? She pointed out this one. I said, this is the center. Everybody is catching on this center, this is the father center, so they are asking you about your father. He said, yes, he's dead and he died of cancer and he had this and that. We had to treat. For example, anorexia is a disease, can be cured by curing this center. It's such a deep knowledge and it is such a all-pervading knowledge, because once you know in a tree the sap that goes to all the leaves and all the ends of it, and if you can move with the sap, your attention can move with the sap, you can know the whole of the tree. You cannot know leaves and then know the tree. How many leaves can you count? But to know the tree, the best thing is to get to the sap. To treat a tree is best is to get to its sap, isn't it? In the same way, when you go from inside out, then you find that you know yourself and others very well. It's very simple. Even small children can do it. So the first doubt comes about yourself. Oh, this is one of them, because there's a guru shopping going on, you see. There's a guru shopping, there's a float. You go to one guru, to another, to ESPs and what you call them, all sorts of things, mediums and all sorts of things, you know, they do with the dead bodies or anything. All these things you have been to and you have found it. So now suddenly you have to come to a temple where you don't pay anything and you just get the blessings. So can't believe it, you just can't believe it, it's too much to believe. This is what happens, you get confused. You are already confused, but confusion could be over by understanding that something is happening to you. Just wait and see, give it a chance. There's no way we can bind you to Sahaja, because there's no mesmerism on. This is another innately a problem with Sahaja Yoga. Second problem I should say is that you are too free to do what you like. Absolutely free. There's no binding force except that you feel the love of your mother. Supposing you are not feeling the vibrations in your hand, there's no way of binding you down to Sahaja Yoga, nothing. We just advise, go ahead, it will work out, let it work out. There is no fees, there's no registration, there's no compulsion, nothing. It's your own free will. If you want to stick on, you can stick on. If you want to go away, you can go. There's no force on you of any kind. There's no registration of your names with some fees or anything. I mean, you are not bound to pay anything. If you pay something, then you feel, all right, I've paid for it, so go through it, whatever it is, good or bad. Supposing you go to see a plane, it's a horrid play, but you say, all right, I've paid for it, so let me go through it. But that you cannot do with Sahaja Yoga because you have not paid. There's nobody who will force you down. Nobody will go on telephoning to you, come along, please come along and all that. So the attitude has to be changed. It is I who has to give. Say there's a beautiful spot somewhere. Now that beautiful spot doesn't send an invitation card to anyone. Everybody goes there. But if you have not yet discovered the beauty of Sahaja Yoga in that way and have not enjoyed it fully, you will have to go again and again and see for yourself. It is a deliberation on your side, not on the side of the Sahajogis or Sahaja Yoga. It's not going to fall at your feet. That please come to Sahaja Yoga, please donate something, nothing of the kind. If you come, you are welcome. If you don't come, welcome. On the contrary, you will be surprised, there's more rejection than acceptance in Sahaja Yoga. That's also innately built. I've seen some people who are very insincere type. They just go out of Sahaja Yoga like a tangent. There was a gentleman who was very troublesome to us in Bombay, and we didn't know what to do with him. And he just got transferred from there and we got rid of him. So you just go out of Sahaja Yoga like a tangent, and we are saved from the botheration. Because you must understand, if you have problems, if you are not all right, it's a problem for Sahaja Yogis to correct. It's just the other way round. If you understand this, then you will understand the thing, what works out. For example, if I have to cure somebody, it's a problem for me and not the problem for the person who is sick. Now, if the tree has to grow, is the problem for the gardener, not for the tree. So the tree must see to it that it cooperates with the gardener and gets itself developed. If this understanding is developed that it is I who has to gain, it is I who has to go forward, mother has not to gain for me anything, she wants me to have all my powers manifested, she wants me to grow to it. If this attitude is developed, then you will work hard to grow and you will work it out. But on the contrary, you see, at the slightest pretext, if your ego stands up and says, why should I do this? To overcome this hurdle, you see, we have to build up certain stages. That's what Modi was telling you. That you first become thoughtlessly aware. See that silence is established. There are certain things that you do much later. Everybody is not allowed in there, because truth can be only borne by people who are strong enough to bear it. That's why I'm not going to tell you who am I till you reach a certain stage, because you cannot bear the light. That's what happened with Christ. They crucified him because they could not bear him. Human beings are like that. They can't even bear an incarnation of love. They can't even bear love. It's too much for them. Even if you give them too much love, they get upset. They get disturbed. They just can't bear it. So you have to build up yourself to come to a certain stage of understanding of Sahaja Yoga. It's a state which you achieve. It's a state. You are not to be certified by anyone or other, but it's a state where you will start giving realization to others. And the whole way you will be talking will be in a very different manner, as if you are completely detached. You will say it is going, it is coming. It happens. You will not say my mother must get, my father must get. You will never say like that. Because you will understand the problem of Sahaja Yoga is that it cannot give to anyone. Like the sunshine can shine, it is for the trees to expose themselves to the sunshine and get the advantage of it. The sunshine is not going to run after you all over to see that you get it. Do you see the point is? It will shine the whole day and you take it. But it's not that it will run after you all the time, requesting you, oh please get me, have it like that. And this is what one has to understand very clearly, that it is you who has to ask for it and not anybody is going to force on you anything. On the contrary, if anybody tries to say something more, your ego gets like that. So try to be careful. I am very happy to know that also, that in all the ego-oriented societies, I have seen that Sahaja Yoga works like wonders, because first thing they see is their colossal ego. And that's a very positive point about it. Because once you start seeing this horrible balloon in you, you just start watching yourself and enjoying, oh, Mr. So-and-so, now get along with your ego. You see, it's a very interesting life you start leading. If your ego, you see, is a very good sign. If you cannot see your ego, then there's danger. But some can even see their superego if they are possessed. See, people see how they get possessed suddenly, because the frequency of possession becomes very little, so that there's a big gap, you see, to see the time when you are normal. And when you get abnormal also, you can see clearly that you are abnormal. By seeing that, you start judging, oh God, I have again been caught up, I am again lost, and you come back to normal. The whole thing becomes a very beautiful understanding of the reality about yourself, and you laugh at yourself all the time. All the time you laugh at yourself and you laugh at everything and you find the whole joke going round, how people are seriously indulging into nonsensical things and how it's such a big joke you are being yourself worrying about things which have no meaning, which has no significance. Like I went first to Paris and people told me, Mother, they are not going to like you very much because they believe a person who is so happy is ignorant. You should not be a happy person. You should be a crying baby. So they will believe it. They are all les miserables. You see, very unhappy people, extremely unhappy. And if you tell them you are a happy person, so they are going to be shocked at such a thing. I said, really, these les miserables, let me invalids, you see, let me do something about them. And I made them laugh so much at their miseries that they got all right. And they understood that the joy is just there. You have to just peep in your heart and you find the source of your joy. And then the whole thing vanishes into thin air. But it has to work. It has to happen. There is no quick way of doing it. In the sense that I say, all right, you give me 5 rupees or $5, Australian dollars, and you get it. No, 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 no. You may give me any amount. It won't work out. It has not worked out with my own daughters. You will be surprised. I have never forced them. I have never asked them. I have only 2 daughters. They are not realized. I am not bothered. When they'll ask for it, they'll get it. But my 4 grandchildren are born realized. And one of the eldest ones one day very seriously said, as it is, you cannot commit mistakes, I know. But it would have been nice if you had given them realization when they were children. You see, this is what it is. That you cannot force these things on anyone. And you have to take a very detached view. You are a seeker, your mother and you are there, but they are not your responsibility. You can tell them about Sergio. But if they are opposing you, better let them be alone, they'll come round. When they'll see the transformation within you, they will definitely come. So leave them alone. Don't bother your heads. Just leave them alone and you will be amazed that they will see you transforming so well and acting so well, and they will change themselves and they'll come to you and ask you, how are you so much changed and transformed? You see, proof of the pudding is in seeing the pudding up there changing people. And this transformation, you'll be amazed coming into you. So suddenly that you'll be amazed. But as I told you, that on the left side is a desire, or you can say the superego, the desire to do something. And the right side is the ego, which we try to sort of please and which feels happy, and the one by which we have ambitions. But in the center is the willpower to do things. And this willpower has to be increased by you. I have to do it. I have to do it. First you'll feel tired because your left heart is weak. Then I will tell you how to do it. They know how to raise your left heart if you are tired. See, most of the people these days are very tired people. They talk, they sit down, they can't, they're very tired, absolutely fagged out people. Morning till evening, what have you been doing? Nothing. Just sitting in the sun, you got tired. Just lazing out, you got tired. Why? Why did you get tired? Firstly, because you are not integrated, you are fighting within yourself. Your head is fighting your heart is fighting your liver. Secondly, you are thinking and wasting your energy. So you have to learn how to settle your heart, what has to be done to raise your heart, to make it peaceful, and how to get the energy from your spirit. Once you start doing that, your tired feeling will go away. Then your aggressiveness also will decrease. and you will be amazed that you will just watch the whole thing. Neither you will aggress nor you will take aggression, and the whole reaction will be very different. Then everything has a meaning. Your feelings have a meaning. Supposing you have a feeling today for Poland, which is in trouble, all of you should ask just now, Mother, solve the problem of Poland, because I have no desires, you see, I am desireless. You have to ask. And it works. You will be amazed because your attention is enlightened now. It just works. You have to desire for it and it works. You have to work for it and it works. And so many miraculous things people will tell you, just believe them, that's all true. Money problem, solved because of Lakshmi Tattva. Financial problem, solved. Social problem, solved. Family problem, solved. Because you are solved. See, in relation to you, everything seems problematic. When your problems are solved, everything is solved. It's so simple as that. We have to solve ourselves, and it is solved through the awakening of the Kundalini. Now I would like to have some questions from you, and then I would like you to go into groups with the Sahaj Yogis and talk to them on intimate level. And also you must tell me your problems. If you have any intimate problems, you can talk to me also. But best is to talk to each other. I would like Warren to also see to it that he organizes all these groups properly. But I would love to have some questions from you about Sahaj Yoga now.
Yes. How can one, this I don't know about yoga, but how can one laugh at abortion? How can one laugh at abortion? He says he's looking at abortion. You're taking the view that it's bad. Well, how can one laugh? Well, how can one laugh at abortion?
No, I'm not saying you have to. I said you are not to laugh, means you laugh at silly, stupid things, I mean, you see. But at abortion, as I can't understand, you see. This is a very funny situation in this country, as it is the birth rate is minus and you are having abortions.
Does it exist in India, abortion?
Not much. People don't like it at all. They hate it. And you know, the trouble is like this. You people are having no children, so we have to have the load on us. You see what to do? Nobody to be born here. They don't want to be born here because there's no love in the heart. See, when other day somebody told me about the doctors here, that some of them are butchers, I couldn't believe it. Because in India, at least, doctors are not butchers by any chance. I was surprised. This is because everything has become a butchery here, because the heart is covered with ego. There's no heart left. We have to raise the heart. That's important. Once you raise the heart, you see, you cannot stand all this nonsense. You know, why do you want to have abortions? I still can't understand.
Madness. It actually affects the Swadhisthana chakra.
Oh, it affects many chakras. I mean, there was someone I knew who always used to catch on right heart. I must tell you this. Very nice person, always on right heart. His father was a good man. Everything was fine. Asked him, how are you catching on right heart? He was not married. And when he came very close to me, then he confessed to me that I lived with a woman and she was going to have a baby and she went in for an abortion and I conceived. And since then I have been feeling very sad about the whole thing. But the whole view about life has to be changed. Then only you can avoid these things. You see, it is a symptom of a disease. It's not the disease itself. Abortion is not the disease, it's the symptom of a disease. Now what is the disease within us is that we have allowed our sex to be let loose completely. Talking too much about sex from childhood, what is the need to give education in sex? I have failed to understand. Openly, there is no need to teach about. You see, do the animals need any sex education? Still they produce. Then they told me they tell about sex only because they think by telling about sex they can protect people from not going into sex. I said no, they create too much of curiosity in children. For example, in India, We never talk about sex to children. They do not know. They are so innocent. Even till the marriage takes place, some of the girls do not know what sex actually is, how it works out and all. But they are told this is something filthy to do and all that, and when the girl gets into puberty, it is told, and to the boys also. You see, some or other, it is a very different society. That question doesn't come in, it never comes into the head of the boys and girls. If you keep them pure, I mean, like it doesn't come in the head of the sister and a brother, even today, thank God. In many sisters and brothers, I should say, despite Freud's all efforts to spoil your minds. But still there are brothers and sisters relations today. In the same way, it doesn't come into their heads at all. And when they get married, they are to be told that this is what it is. And that's why they say these Konarak and all these places were built where they could take young brides and young people to see that. This was called as Kumarika temples, means the married women, when they were not virgins, could go there and see those places to understand what sex is. And you get so exhausted with this early sex life. I mean, you go into all kinds of tantrums then. Because you are so exhausted, then you go into perversions. The basics are wrong. We are trying too hard to be sexologists. There's no need to be sex points, you are that already. But you don't want to be only sex points, do you? I don't know what makes you feel that that is the end of every every endeavor. Everything should end up there. Maybe that advertisement and all this is coming to you too much because they think that by exploiting these things they will help you. But it's such a perverted thing.
On the other hand, would you swap your generative capacities for a radio?
Huh?
Would you swap your generative capacities for a radio?
What's it?
Would you swap your generative capacity, your capacity to reproduce and have sex, for a radio?
For a radio? Means what?
Oh, he's asking you whether it's a valuable thing to have, to be able to have sex. Is it valuable and has it a purpose?
It has. It has a purpose to a point.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is another point.
He's supporting.
He's talking about in India, where they give a transistor radio for sterilization. You know that where.
That's what they try. This is also, you see, Western ideas coming to India. Oh, they did all sorts just to sterilize them. Oh, that's how the lady lost her election. Her last election, she is now pulled her ears for that. See, they are all westernized people. You see, they try all these tricks. People don't like it. You see, there was a bridegroom who was. There's a bridegroom who went for his wedding, and poor thing saw that there was a team of people standing there for sterilization. He jumped out of the bus and he disappeared forever. Nobody knows where he has disappeared. And they even sterilized people who were very old and who were not even married. You see, it was so funny. So indiscriminate. I think they were possessed by some booths. I don't know what to call them. You see, population is a problem in India. But what to do now? You should solve the problem. And there is something working out in a very funny way, I must tell you. I went to Colombia. I found lots of these Norwegians carrying Colombian children with them. And they looked so different, Norwegian children, Norwegian people and these Colombian children. I asked them, why do you carry these children? Where are you carrying them? They said, we have adopted them. I said, but why don't you produce your own? That would be better, to produce your own. No, we don't want to go through the process of it. It's better to have ready-made. So the supply has started, I think, in all the developing countries to give you ready-made children. Isn't it funny? It's funny things going on. Instant babies.
Excuse me, Mother. If a chakra is blocked and you bring the flow out of that chakra, link it with other chakras, couldn't you be indulging in undoing a karmic pattern in that person has to go through?
Very good idea, because I think
Just
you
repeat
people
the question.
is.
The question.
I know the question is this, that he's saying that if you try to clean the chakras, you will be undoing the karmic cycle and all that. You see, this is a typical things that are being circulated in the West, you see. That you have your own karmas, you see, and we are the gurus. So you have to go through your karmas. You must suffer for your karmas. You see, like that is there. Now, this theory was all right before Christ came in, not after his coming. And why are they here then? Why are we paying them? For what? You better pickle them out. They are worth nothing, because they just take money from you, and we have to go through our karmas. They make you dance, jump, go into all kinds of things, put spirits in us and say you are suffering your karmas. Why should we suffer? Actually, they should suffer for our karmas, minimum of minimum. No, Christ has done that for you. He has taken all his karmas, your karmas upon himself. He has made way for us. That's why you have to pass through him. Once you pass through him, through Agya Chakra, your karmas are sucked in by. That's your ego. It's the only ego that says you have done this wrong and that wrong. You see, an animal doesn't think that way. It thinks it's its own swabhava. It's the way it has to be. But it's only the human beings who think, I've done this wrong, I've done that wrong, I've done this good, that bad, because we have ego. But when your Kundalini passes through your Agya Chakra, your ego is sucked in, your superego is sucked in. Christ has done double job in one shot, you know. It's great. That's why he was crucified. It was to be. He took all your karmas upon himself and put it into hell. So whatever karmas you have done are all sucked in. But the door must open fully. In the beginning, it happens that only a thread comes up, you see. And the ego is not fully sucked in, so sometimes it still comes up and all that. The best weapon to get rid of them is to forgive others. Forgiveness is the greatest weapon Christ has given us, which we have to use. Forgive, forgive, and forgive. That's a very good way. Lord's Prayer is the solution for your Agya Chakra. You'll be amazed. You have to say Lord's Prayer after realization to open your Agya. Then you become thoughtlessly aware. After realization, again I say not before realization. It has no meaning. Before realization, whatever you have said has gone into karmas. Only after realization, you are baptized, you get an opening here, and all your karmas pass through that. Also you will find, when you get realization, a lot of heat comes out. These are the karmas, you see, that are coming out. Let the heat go out, and all karmas are finished. It's like that. This is what is self-realization. Like an egg is in an eggshell, is very different. But when it becomes a little chick, and the mother breaks the tip of the egg, a new bird comes out without any karmas or the smell of the egg. So clean and nice. Everything converted into something beautiful. It's like that. This is the rebirth. This is how we become a new personality, a new being. So forget about your karmas after your realization. Alright? He has said it, that he died for your sins. Didn't he? And the wages of sin is fear. If you still have fear within you of your karmas, you are still sinning. There should be no fear about it. Do not have any guilt. I've been telling you not to have any guilt. What can you do? What sins can you commit? Do not have any fears. This is very common, as I told you the other day, left Vishuddhi. I have to talk about it quite a lot. It's so common in Australia, in America, and in all the Western countries to feel guilty. Everything collapses there, and nobody can rise through the Agya because it collapses down here onto left Vishuddhi where you feel guilty. What are you feeling guilty about? And why did Christ come on this earth? You are just wasting his incarnation by feeling guilty yourself. He has taken all your guilt upon himself. What do you think he was? He was Omkara. He was Pranava. He was the word. He was that power. He is not attached to anything, but he can take away everything that you think is sin, because he is sinless. He is so pure, immaculate. All right? Does that give you some hopes? Or still you are indulging into your own miseries?
Anyone else?
I was talking about eggs earlier. What about diet? Can you give us some guidance? on
Diet, all right. This diet theory is also coming from some horrible Brahmins, you see. Don't listen to them. They are the greatest Rakshasas ever born on this earth.
Means devils.
Devils. Rakshasas are monsters, you see. They eat like hell, they eat such a lot, and they always tell you don't do this and don't do that.
Don't eat sugar.
You can eat anything you like, except for don't eat the meat of animals which are bigger than you. I mean, otherwise you'll develop muscles, see, which will have funny contours and things. Eat animals which are smaller than, is the point is. And if you eat those animals, they do not also have much sense of compassion and all that. It's all right. They are just like vegetable sort of things. So it doesn't matter. You don't kill them. They are killed in the machine and all that. You have to eat that, and you need it. You have to eat. But that doesn't mean that if you are vegetarians, you should become non-vegetarian. It doesn't mean that. Whatever you eat, you can eat. It's not, eating is not going to change your spirit. Spirit doesn't eat. It does not. Makes no difference to the spirit, except that to your body, which is a lamp. So, if you have to keep the wick all right, you have to keep the lamp all right, and for that, don't eat anything that is a very big animal compared to yours. And cow's meat, for example, in India, they don't eat, because have you seen Indian cows? They're very gentle. And the cows are in the house, just like mother, they start giving milk to the children. They see every day they are taking the milk of the cow, so they develop a feeling, you see. And that's why they don't drink, you see. But it doesn't mean that if your Australian cows are, I don't think are like that, because what I have seen, they look like buffaloes to me sometimes. Like my granddaughter, she came to England and she asked me, grandmother, why the buffaloes in England are white? Yes, so it's all right, but you will come down on that. It will be different, you see, you'll see gradually, but don't worry about it. Gradually everything drops out into very little things, you see, but you allow yourself to develop.
Eggs and things like that he was
Oh, eggs you better have, lots of it. But if you have liver, it's not good to have eggs. Eggs is very heating. Pork is otherwise good, but not good for the people who have liver problems. You see, you must understand, every person is different. Now today I met a lady who was very left-sided. So I had to tell her, you eat pork, eggs, everything, you see. It is how you are. Even the Indian Ayurveda is like that. They want to know the prakriti, the character of a person, how he is. We have evolved from different types of animals. I saw the nocturnal ones. You see, the nocturnal ones must eat a lot of meats. Those who have evolved from nocturnal side. You see, the left-sided, the ones who are afraid and frightened, and who are not egoistical at all, you see, such types. They should take more meats and things, but those who are too much aggressive, better take to vegetables is better. All right, now what's the question?
Does forgiveness stop the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer?
Sergio.
Does forgiveness stop the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer?
It does, absolutely. Absolutely. Sahaja Yoga is the thing that balances the society. Those who are poor become richer, and the rich understand that they must share. Willingly they start sharing their money. But you become really rich in a very miraculous manner. Now, there's a girl here, I would like her to tell you what happened to her. It's miraculous, but she's an Australian and she doesn't tell lies. You can see that very clearly, and she'll tell you what happened to her. Where is she gone? Cheryl? Come along. Is she here?
Well, you can tell her, Mother. You can tell
All right. No, let us tell. It's better she's Australian, they'll believe her more. Huh?
He
You
says, "No,
don't.
we don't. You better
But never trust an Indian. That's even worse.
We'll trust you."
You know, some of the gurus have introduced some Indian bhoots, Indian spirits into English people and Americans and also Europeans. And I find they behave like just like Indians, you know. They cheat, they embezzle, they'll take away things, not the women. They'll not touch the women, you see. But they'll touch the things, they'll take away empty cans. It's typically Indian, you see. It's rather surprising. Yes, there are some. I've seen them like that. It's surprising to see such things happening to a Western person who behaves just like an Indian. Must be some possession of bhoots put by these gurus. So, if you believe me, then I can tell you what she's told. It's really miraculous, very miraculous. Cheryl was telling me that she wanted to come to India and she had no money. So her daughter was very anxious to come to India, and they didn't know what to do. They didn't have sufficient money. So they just said, "Mother, we want to come to India. Can you arrange it for us?" That's all. And it so happened that this girl had taken a trinket she had in the house, a bracelet, to the school for a sale. I mean, they have their feet all over, so she took that for the feet. And the teacher said, "I think this is gold." She couldn't believe it. She brought it home and they got it valued. And they found that the price of the thing was equal to what they had to spend for both of them travels. But this is nothing. And then she got some money from somewhere in the house, somewhere, I don't know how, she got some money. And she didn't sell even the bracelet, and that's still there. She said, "For the next trip," I said, "I hope so, you sell it." May not. Like that, you see, things work out. Because your Lakshmi Tattva, your center of well-being gets enlightened. And then you are looked after. So many things happen. Like today they told me so many things of this kind happening to them. And I too, you see, when these people came in, I had told them, "All right, you give me so much money, maybe required for your stay." They're very little, it was very little for them to be there in India. You see, after all, India is also now becoming very expensive. And when I went to India, I discovered it has become very expensive. Doesn't matter. I said, I put it in the bank. I said, let it be there. And anybody asked me, "No, let have it. You want it, have it. Now spend it. Now go." And it was all right. I could manage. You see, that's what he did. And so many of them have done it. It's looked after. You go to right places, you get right things, you don't spend too much, you do not repent for spending, and you feel happy for whatever you have, you feel very joyous, not worried about counting. But if you make a budget, you had it. You don't worry your head about budgeting, how much you are going to spend. You'll be surprised. You won't go to things which are unnecessary, useless, but you'll buy something that is very good. And ultimately these things will be very precious for you to sell. Many things have happened like that. Many things have happened. Yes?
You tell me why Australia is important for the future.
Why is Australia important for the future? Maybe about Sri Ganesh.
Only thing, I don't want to pamper the ego.
I mean, is Australia blessed
Very much.
for the oncoming wars and things?
Very much blessed. It's a very much blessed place. Specially created. Australia was the first continent to be created. And if I dare to answer this question, I hope you'll believe me and not get into ego trips. Australia is a place which is described in the ancient Puranas that a great saint was sent to Australia and another heaven was created. And that saint is called as Trishanku, which is your south, what you call that is the Southern Cross. That shows the Southern Cross, and you can only see Southern Cross from Australia. This is one of the Puranas, or the Vedas also have mentioned this. And even before that, Australia is the place which has the Ganesha. The first is the Mooladhara Chakra. The first center is in Australia. How much wise you should be? Did you hear me?
She wanted your opinion about the Australian Aboriginals, the native people here that were born.
Oh, they must have been good people to begin with. I'm sure of it. They must have been very good and holy people and nice people. But I think later on they deviated because of too much jungles and things, They started feeling the fear of the nature too much. They must have worshipped things which were good to begin with, and later on to some things like spirits and this. Moreover, the dead bodies, the way they disposed of, must have been something wrong. So maybe they might have gone into a left-sided action, into primitive ways of exciting these bhoots and things, spirits and spiritualism and all that. But in Australia must be the minimum. In Africa is horrible. African countries have too much of it. But it should be the minimum of minimum. Because you see, Ganesha's chakra is connected with the left side. You see, is more on the left side, isn't it? So also one can go drift more onto the left side. That's what it is. And even today I feel there's a kind of a lurking inferiority complex that works in Australians. They try to copy the West. There's nothing to copy there. They have nothing sensible. They have to learn from you. You see, this is a little inferiority complex we have, that all the best things are in the West. That's wrong. You are much better off in so many ways. At least you have not lost your moorings. So I would not pass a general remark about any community as such, but there is a possibility that they can come up very well too. I mean, they can get out of all that left-sidedness. In India also we have big communities in the south where people have lived with too much ritualism and all that, and have taken to left-sided behavior of attracting, spirits and this and that, and giving those talismans and all that. They've done all that. They are doing, like witchcraft and witch doctors and all that. They must be doing it. But it can be cured. There's no problem. As the West people are overdeveloped and very ego-oriented and right-sided. Both are extreme cases, but you can correct. The people who are left-sided, it's easier because they have to move forward. But it's difficult for ego-oriented to move backwards. But if we can do that there, why not here? So nothing is lost, and one should not worry too much about these things. Human beings are just the same. Everybody has Kundalini, finished. As long as you have Kundalini, you have no problem.
To eat? Is there anything wrong with eating chilies?
No, it suits some people very much. Some people should have, those who suffer from colds, will be a good idea. Suffer from constipation is a good idea. But don't eat too much of anything. But it's good for some people. Something is good for some people, something is good for some people. You have to just find out. For people who get constipated, it is better to have little of green chilies all the time. It is very rich in vitamin C. It's very rich in vitamin C. It's good for people who catch colds very easily.
Do you know anything about the teaching called Mahikari?
I know.
There are a lot of people here today.
You see, Mahikari thing was, the person who started Mahikari was a realized soul, though not so well equipped. I met him before his realization. And he got realization, I think, through me only. Whatever it was. I do not want to claim anything like that. But the only thing is, he was not equipped, well equipped. Like anybody who gets here realization starts doing something. And his daughter, I think, misled the people, because she's not a realized soul. She became very money oriented. She started putting it. It's happened with everyone of them. But poor thing, this one was not, he just got a realization. He was not an incarnation also. You see? Even incarnations who came on this earth, like Christ, you see? Like Muhammad Sahib, like Rama, Krishna. See, such great incarnations who were purest of pure. Even those people have been mishandled, and people have raised organizations which are just money-making propositions. Everything somehow man makes into money. I don't know how. It's something that happens to human beings, you see. Then they start giving talisman, this, that, cross, this. I mean, it's a money-making proposition throughout. So this is the trouble. What she said?
She said you're very right.
And you may lose lots of your powers, even ordinary normal powers, with this kind of wrong attitude, you see, or misguidance, because it happens like that. You can make mistakes, you can do so many things, you know. I've seen people, one girl who I had given realization, she went to a lady who was a medium. She used to get ho 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 like that and this thing, and she gave her a talisman, and she became actually blind. Actually blind. Now she's blind. Her eyes are open. I mean, I have to still cure her. But this is the report I've got about her.
Would you say the same of the Hare Krishna organization?
Oh, now you are pulling me into controversies. But I will tell you the other way round. You see, if you go on calling, say the name of anybody, even your name, would you like it? Then how can God like it? On the Oxford Street to stand up. You should see the sight. They even sell those things, you see, like wigs. They sell them like wigs in the market. They shave off, and sometimes they wear wigs. See, it's not show. It is something that has to happen within. It's not the show that you put up. It's something that has to happen. You see, most of them end up with throat cancer, and very violent people. They are beggars, absolute parasites.
With Jaguars.
Hmm?
With Jaguars.
With expensive cars.
You see, this is very nice. I met somebody in England, and I told him, what do you do here? He said, I deal in opium. I got a fright. I said, opium? How do you deal in opium? Other people's money. I said, that's very good. Other people's money. You see, you can float an enterprise. It's very easy, because you are such seekers, such great seekers of ages, and you are so naive. Very good. You go anywhere, they'll take a square, sit there with saffron clothes, with some circus on. Another fellow will be fanning, oh, this one is very great, coming direct from Kashi. Then have nothing to do with horrible people. Kashi is one of the worst places now. So you all go and prostrate. This is what it is. I mean, why are you enamored by these circuses? Aren't you fed up with them? We had a lady from Norway. This one was very interesting. She came to my house, stayed with me, very badly caught up. And she told me the story of a Lama who came to Norway. First he told all these Norwegians, you see, if I have to come to Norway, you have to make a place with a floor which has got all marble. Look at him. They're such parasites these Lamas are. First they have sucked the blood of these poor Tibetans, and now they were willing to suck the blood of these Norwegians. Now the poor young people, you see, I should say young people in the West are really not rich because their parents do not give them money the way we give our children, you see, so they have starved themselves. They ate only potatoes and this and that, and for 1 year they starved themselves to create this floor for these horrible people. And this fellow came, you see, with his shaved head and all that. He stayed there. And this lady told me that she had to go and just bow to him 1,000 times for 3 months. 1,000 times, imagine, just to bow. As it is, you'll be finished. Even 3 times is sufficient to finish you off. And 3 months she did it. And with me she was arguing morning till evening. I said, look at that. You are arguing with me, eating my head off, and here you are bowing to him. They would not allow anybody to go near the Lama, the great, who was sitting on the 7th step somewhere, hanging in the air. It's very common, you know, the more you are missing from the scene, the more you are difficult to be seen, you see. It's something great. Oh, I have seen the glimpse of that horrible thing. That's what people think. You see, this is what they play upon you, emotional. What do you call them? Emotional? Blackmail. That's what it is. Oh, they will tell you, first of all, we call them chamchas, mean they're spoons. They'll come and tell you, oh, this is very difficult, you know, he may not give you any interview. And you have to at least shell out 500 rupees. You see, it's not easy. It's very difficult. Only you should send your photograph with 500. All this nonsense. If you are the river Ganges, what can malign you? What can dirty you? What can make you impure? If you are here for purification, then nothing can impure you. One, two, three, four. Now the one who has not asked at all should ask. Yes, sir.
Yes.
It seems that over the years we have lost these powers of belief in ourselves. I think at one stage, like in the Egyptian era, that we had these powers. We believed totally in ourselves, and we were a whole piece. We didn't need to cling or to each other, or we didn't need to rely on each other so much. You know? And I just wondered how we've lost these powers. Is it because the population is so big and because we have to cling together in cities?
The question is concerning the loss of powers within ourselves. Perhaps back in the days of Egypt, we had those powers. We seem to have lost our power to believe in ourselves.
I don't know even if that time you had those powers very much. But Egyptians indulged more on the ego side. You see, they were those who were rulers. And the slaves were on the left-hand side too much because they obeyed the rulers, you see. So the sensitivity came to them from spirits, not directly from themselves. And some of them were really very realized souls. And you will be amazed. If these extreme cases are there, they understand an incarnation better. Say, if you are taking LSD too much, you will see only lights coming out of me. You won't see me. There are many who must have seen that. Auras and things. If you are on the right-hand side, too much. If you are on the left-hand side, you will be awed. You will be shaking before me. And you may see my previous births and you will be quite frightened because you know what it is. So, they understood the incarnations better. But evolutionary, you are much higher than they are. Though there is confusion because of so-called freedom you had, which you misused. But as a whole, I think this is the time for blossoming. Only thing you must know that you are a seeker, and you are a seeker, then you must get it. And if you get it, why should you be surprised? But it's like seeking has become like a fashion. Seeking here, seeking there, seeking there, seeking. You stop nowhere. You see, go on fixing the bolts. You see, you are just going on with an inertia. Even if you stop fixing, you still go on like that. It's like that. You see, it is a style you have developed of going from this to that, that to that, that to that, and you cannot stop it. Yes? Yeah.
First one is, I'd be interested to know your opinion on the philosophy of Rudolf Steiner.
Your opinion on the philosophy of Rudolf Steiner.
And secondly,
What did he say?
And secondly,
I'd be interested to know your contact, if any, with the Papatak Sangha in India.
Papatak Sangha, or do you know this one in India?
Papatak Sangha?
All these are all people playing on boots and things. That's all I can say. What else?
Steiner is a modern educationalist and philosopher.
What does he say? I think Gregor has discussed it. What does he say?
It's discussed in the Advent. And
What does he say?
well,
What does he say, this Steiner?
Oh, a million words.
A million words. Words and words and words. you
No,
see.
no. Many good books.
Acha? What does he say?
his vibrations are very good, Mother.
Might be a realized soul, but what does he say?
Basically, I couldn't give you an example. I wouldn't want to just give you an example.
In gardening, he is an excellent gardener.
He's well known for his philosophies on education particularly, but his philosophies do encompass all aspects of life, which include medicine.
He might be a realized soul like Khalil Gibran is. You see, his vibrations are good. He might be, but still, you have to become realized souls. You see, reading that, even Zen is all that. Zen is everything is, nothing but is realization. But you will be amazed that the head of the Zen himself reads all Zen without being realized, and he's a hopeless fellow. I just talked to him, he said, oh, we cannot get realization. He's confirmed on that point. Imagine a Zen, the head of the Zen, saying that. And he said, we had Kashyapas, only 26 Kashyapas we had in 6 centuries, can you believe it? And he wouldn't take his realization, he was so frightened. He accepted me, all right. But he said, I am nowhere, Mother, compared to you. I said, what is this? But I am telling you, you can get. So, it's good to read somebody who is a realized soul. But you better get it yourself. You become Steiner, all right?
Steiner catches on Agya and Swadhisthana.
Maybe. What I am saying, you become a realized soul, and you can write about your own experiences. Yes, please.
Daraji
Dadaji,
in Calcutta.
he's arrested. He's already in jail. No, he was in Pune where he was arrested, this Dadaji. This happened about, I think, I don't know, but I heard about. I don't know when it happened.
How Mrs. Gandhi
Huh?
or a state.
No, it was not because of any political thing. But they found some income tax things and all that, and lots of, I don't know, I didn't pay much attention, but he's arrested, that I know. There's all sorts of things these are. You see, the best part of the whole thing is that all that is untruth is exposed gradually. Whatever things they may put up, whatever story they may put up, whatever they may try, they may entice you. You may be interested in them, whatever it is, but they themselves meet their end. Because all that is falsehood has an end, and truth is endless. It is anand, it is eternal. The truth is eternal.
What do you see as the future of the United Nations?
Oh,
What do you see as the future of the United Nations?
that's a tricky one.
You better tell them your husband is.
My husband is one of the Secretary Generals. I better not speak, all right? Let it be. We'll see about it. Work it out.
Yes.
Do you think,
Some tricks we have to play.
do you know of Krishnamurti at all?
Do you know of Krishnamurti?
Very much.
Thank you. Could you tell us,
He's another one. Krishnamurti is another blah blah blah. I'll tell you about Krishnamurti very well. You see what Krishnamurti does, he says this part what I say, that there are false gurus. But I don't say there are not real ones. If there is falsehood, if there is artificiality, there has to be real. If there are artificial flowers, there has to be a real flower too. So he negates you from the other side completely, and he puts up your ego by saying, oh, you can find it. So you are finished. He is a blind leading others into blindness.
I saw him personally, privately, and I asked him, why do you do what you do? And he said, does a rose ask why?
Does it?
He
said what?
saw him personally and asked him the question,
Why do you do what you do?
why do you do what you do? And he said,
Does a rose ask why?
does a rose ask why?
I mean, it has no awareness. Simple answer is as that. A rose has no awareness. By any chance, he is not a rose. He is just thorns. That's what I know. Those who have come from him have had very bad time, I must tell you. You see, they are really so depressed and so horrid. We had one architect, I mean, his life was finished. So many of them I've met. Horrible, they're very argumentative. The best example I'll give you about this, because you have brought forth. There was a fellow who came to see me. He's the grandson of his guru. His guru was, who was his guru? Krishnamurti. No, not Krishnamurti, another one. This Dadaji.
Yogananda?
No, Yogananda. Yogananda, the Kriya Yogis. See? He was the grandson of the Dadaji or something. No, Dadaji, not something. Babaji. All Dadajis and Babajis are there. This Babaji, his grandson. You see, his Yogananda's guru was somebody else, and he was the son of this fellow, but the grandson of his guru. So the great grandson of Babaji. So the whole family was Kriya, and he did all the Kriya Yoga and everything he did. He went there and this, and he got so frightened. One day he happened to see this Krishnamurti, that there should be no, he said, no Kriya and all that, you see, and that you are your own guru and this and that. So he said, oh God, what have I been doing? So he gave up Kriya Yoga and he came to Mr. Krishnamurti. He said, I became such an expert that I spoke better than Krishnamurti could. And everybody was surprised. They said, second Krishnamurti is coming up. I ran away from there. I said, now this is another thing that is happening to me. And he came to me. You'll be amazed I have not been able to give him realization till today. I must tell you this. This he comes to me still often, very often he comes to me. I have not yet given him realization. Imagine the grandson of this Babaji has to bear, I don't know what things, poor things has been done to him. I'm very sorry for him.
Do you know of Rajneesh? I don't know.
He's another horrible one. I mean, why do you need a guru for such a thing? You are masters. He's a fool. He doesn't know compared to what you know. But you see what you thought of, that inside you are human beings. So feel guilty that we talk of sex with animals, sex with this, that. There's something lurking in you. There's something wrong in all this pervergence and homosexuality, this, that and all that. So you thought it's better to have a guru, at least he'll certify. But he is going to make you take 2 running jumps to go to hell, I tell you. Yes, he'll be just there, and he talks that you will go to bottomless pit. In the Bible, the bottomless pit is the hell. He is very honest in a way. He says so. He said you will go to bottomless pit. He has criticized Christ to such an extent that he says that Christ had bad relation with his own mother. Oh, to that extent. He said about Muhammad having bad relation with his daughter. All sorts of things he is talking. And people publish it. He's getting such a publicity. He pays money to people that they write against me. He's doing all kinds of things, and Indians don't like him at all. They hate him. They want him to get out. But he's so localized, he cannot smell a flower. And he calls himself Bhagwan, means God. In the book, you see, anywhere you read any Indian book where they have described God, if the names of God, there are 1,000 names, supposing, of Vishnu or of the goddess or anything. At least 15 or 20 of them are that they are fond of flowers, they are fond of fragrance, they are fragrant, that they are fond of kamalas, they are champa, they are fond of this, that. All this is there, and this fellow cannot see. If you show a flower to him, he'll run away. He cannot bear to have any incense being burnt anywhere. When you go there, they see, and you can only put phenyl to go and see him. I think he's a bathroom cleaner, that's what he is. The way he is so much afraid. I don't know what he likes, the bathroom smell. And he does all dirty things, very dirty fellow. He's filthy. I don't want to tell you what he does, but I know what he does. That's my thing.
Could you explain the meaning of Satori and Samadhi?
That's Zen. You see, Zen Satori is the same as Samadhi, but it's you see the Zen where, as I told you, in 6 centuries were 26. And whatever they wrote, people never understood, you see. Because they were realized souls, some of them were born realized, some got realization. Now even when you will talk, people won't understand you. It's a very surprising thing. But it happens like that, because your language changes. Now they called it Satori, is a Samadhi. But it's not so clearly given. They could not explain so clearly about it, not talk to people. It's not so clear cut. Now in our Sahaja Yoga, we have first of all Nirvichar Samadhi. Samadhi means awareness. And Samadhi means enlightened awareness. Nirvichar means thoughtless. Thoughtless, enlightened awareness is first thing. It's clear cut. Sahaja Yoga is very clear cut, practical, every word of it you see so clearly. There's no vagueness about it. Even you'll understand Bible better, Zen better, everything better if you know Sahaja Yoga, because your eyes are open to it, alright? So the first thing is Nirvichar Samadhi. With Nirvichar Samadhi, when it crosses your Agya Chakra, you get Nirvichar. Means when your ego is pulled out. With that, you get powers. Like you see, if you become a deputy governor, you get powers. You become a governor, you get powers. The first power you get is curative powers. You get cured, and you can cure others. Many people whom I have cured are not Sahaja Yogis. They are useless people. Actually, I have given up curing people for the same reason, because they just come for cures, they get cured and lost. What's this of curing people who are not going to give the light? You see, you don't repair lights which are not going to work out. It's a horrible stuff, you see, curing people, but you do cure. You start curing people automatically with raising the hands, not with spirits. There are another faith healers and all that nonsense is not there. Also, Kundalini can rise to a point with a person like that. But one should not stay at that point, must go higher. Because the movement on right and left, you start getting either supraconscious or your subconscious experiences, which can be very alluring, and you can be quite lost in them. You start seeing lights, you start seeing something different, you might see an aura around me. I mean, you see lots of things you may see as something else in my past. That should not be there. You should forget about it. You have to go to the airport to catch the plane, isn't it? So don't see all the things around. It's all not wanted. Many people get lost at that point when they stop at Agya. If you have concentrated here, this can happen more, because this is broken, or if you have had this third eye business and all that, then you may go to the side. It can be quite dangerous. You see, if you use these your samadhi for some sort of a sensation. So you should not. I mean, all wise people should not use this movement at all. As far as possible, say, no, we don't want to see that. We don't want to have any supraconscious sensation and all that. Then you rise higher, and then you try to feel your silence in the limbic area, and you have to feel your vibrations coming out from your head. It is the vibrations when they are flowing. That's the best stage, when you have pierced through your Brahmarandra. So the second stage starts from Nirvikal Samadhi growing into, which many of the Sahaja Yogis have achieved in Australia, is called as Nirvikalpa, where there is no doubts. You have no doubts left about Sahaja Yoga, you have no doubts left about yourself. It's a state. It's not that by mentally or rationally, but it's a state where you see it so clearly. It is white is white. You don't have to doubt that whether my eyes are showing white or black. You see, that state is reached, is called as Nirvikalpa, where there's no vikalpa. You just go move steadily, and that's the best stage where you really grow faster because you are so steady, and that stage must be achieved. So try to achieve that stage through negating things. Neti neti vachaner nigamo avachus, by saying not this, not this, not this. And you reach that stage. It's very clearly given. You see, the trouble is, so many of these books, which are so great, are never translated. People do not know about them. Now after coming to Sahaja Yoga, you will be exposed to them and you will see what truths there are and how Sahaja Yoga verifies it and proves it.
What impact or influence do you have on people who live with you who don't practice anything like that or believe in anything like that?
What did he say?
What influence are you likely to have on people who live with you who are not realized? What does a realized soul have in the way of influence on those around him and his environment?
Oh, I see. You see, if you have stones and if you have living trees, stones do not receive anything from the sun, but the leaves receive something, isn't it? They have more sensitivity. That's the difference. Then, in Sahaja Yoga, there's a possibility that you can convert stones into living beings. Can be done. Yes, because they see. You see, they see you. They understand the value that you are. Gradually, rationally, they start understanding. Then they reach certain conclusions. Then they come to Sahaja Yoga. Then they get realized. It works out that way. But with seekers, it's very different. Seekers just jump into it. They do not think about it. They just get it. They get it so fast that they don't think about it. Just they get it. So they are so sensitive. That's the difference.
Can we help our loved ones who do not want to listen to any spiritual teaching? Can we help them when we follow Sahaja Yoga?
Can we help our loved ones who do not want to listen to anything particularly about Sahaja Yoga?
You see, there's nobody else that you help someone. They are all within yourself. On the contrary, I would say better have them together who are Sahaja Yogis. Because those who are not will trouble you. It will be a problem. Leave them alone. They'll be all right. They'll come round. Let them come on their own. You cannot force them. They are loved ones. You'll change your now priorities. You will understand that those who are really loved ones are not really your brothers and sisters. As Christ has said, who are my brothers and sisters? Now we have to ask that question. Because you speak another language. You are a different person. Not that you give them up. But they exist. But they haven't got your awareness. So it's a different thing altogether. But you help them in a way. Gradually they see you. But if you force them, they'll run away. No use forcing or telling them anything about it. But you show your satisfaction and happiness and your growth, and others get impressed by it, and they just come to you.
How can you? Do you help them?
Yes, I do. But you should put them out of your minds and say, Mother, you help. If you try to help, then I'll leave it to you.
Yes. He can't understand why you say Christ died for us. Why did he die for us?
What else could he have done with the stupid people? They crucified him. He didn't say, you come and crucify me, did he? You see, they're stupid, horrible people, donkeys. They didn't understand him, stones, as they were. What to do? They crucified him. He didn't ask. But when he was crucified, the sins that they committed in crucifying him were to be forgiven. That's what it is. He was, what did he do? You see, he died because of you, because people like you only crucified him. You represent them. When you are realized, then you are different people. Then you are resurrected. His message was resurrection, not crucifixion. But that shows the stupidity of these people, isn't it? I mean, you may do that again. I can't say. There are people. Yes. Can you pour for me some water? Yeah? Water.
Say again, please.
Loudly, loudly. Yeah, I have a mic. Ah.
Sorry. Is it possible to exercise love and acceptance when, as she says, you're judging people as to whether they're right or wrong? We're using vibrations.
Huh?
We're using vibrations.
I'm not judging, you are judging. Because when you get your vibrations, you start judging yourself. You see, I'm not judging. It's only your own judgment. It's your own judgment. Are you getting your cool breeze in the hand? No? Then let it happen. I'm not judging you. It's you are judging it yourself. Alright? Then you will know yourself. Just now you are judging that you are not getting vibrations.
Is it true that Indira Gandhi is worshipped as a goddess?
Oh, don't. That's all political stunts.
That's useless. That's
You
useless.
see, Indian people are like that.
Yes.
I'm not satisfied with the answer to the lady's question, and I don't think the question was relayed accurately to you.
What did she say?
What she was asking is, can you express love with people who ask you?
Ask me.
No. Can you exercise love
Ah.
right, when you are talking about or to people who ask you and people who don't understand?
Is that what you mean?
That's
Is that
what
what you meant?
Is that right?
You are confused, you come here.
She's confused about the fact that you talked about love and acceptance at the beginning, and then when people's names were brought up, we often scoffed at them.
About the gurus, eh? That's it. That's a very important point. That's very much with you people. You see, all of you have developed a philosophy where you say there's nobody is evil. Everything is fine. This is a very good philosophy to work with, because you also fit into the thing that nothing is evil about you also, isn't it? It happens like that. You remember when Christ was criticizing these horrible people, they asked him, how do you criticize them? They do not criticize you. Then he said, will the devil talk against its own house? There is a negative force working, very much active. And you have to not only scoff, but get rid of these things, because they are acting as your destroying forces. And they destroy you. I see them very clearly, and I have to tell you. So love doesn't mean that I love a snake. Will you go and love a snake? Snake must understand first of all. In the same way, we have to understand there are evil people. That's true. That's what is very much in the West, I see. Oh, you love everyone. It's all right. But you don't love a snake, do you? Go and ask snake, I want to love you. He'll just finish you off. So many of you are harmed so much by these people, and I have to cure you. You don't know I have to go through such a lot of work to cure you when you are affected by these people. You don't know how much I've worked. morning till evening. This morning I started 6 o'clock till I came here. Just 10 minutes I got to change my sari and I was here. These are affected by other gurus and things, and I have to take it out. I know what harm they have done to you. You have no idea.
Mother, I want to know, what are your objections to chanting, singing the Holy Scriptures?
What are your objections to chanting and singing the Holy Scriptures?
Not at all. Who told you I am? I have none. But you must understand that without understanding what chanting is needed, it's like a medicine. Chanting is a mantra. Mantra means a thing that acts as a sound to correct a particular thing within you. Alright? It's, you can say, sound therapy it is. Alright? Now you have to know what medicine is needed for which chakra. Also you must know where is the problem with you or with anybody else. I mean, it would be chanting at random means sometimes sort of indiscriminate drinking of all the medicines, you see. Taking all the medicine bottles into your stomachs, emptying them without understanding. We do chant, but we know where to chant what. You see, not indiscriminate just like that. And it's very dangerous because when you go on chanting, say Rama's name or Krishna's name. Now Krishna's name, Krishna is here. If your Kundalini has not reached there up to this point, if you take Krishna's name, it's very, very annoying for Krishna himself, and he recedes, sleeps off, he freezes sometimes. And by that you develop problems of the chakras, and sometimes you develop throat cancer. It's very serious. So first you must know where is your Kundalini, where it has gone, where it has stopped. Then you should know what is the problem. Then you must know what exactly the chanting is to be used, alright? And then cure that part. You see, so it's a big science which has to be understood in Sahaja Yoga. It's not at random. You are suffering from whatever trouble you are suffering from. You must know first of all. See, many people who are Christians catch on Agya, I told you. They do. Because it's unauthorized. Christ. We treat him as if, I don't know what, as some passion fruit hanging in the tree. Do we know who he is? There is a protocol, great protocol. Even Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh could not reach him. So for us, because we think we are born among Christian families, because the church has given us a certificate so-called, do you think we are authorized to chant his name all the time and trouble him? And what do we ask? Do we ask for our spirits? Do we ask we give our realization? Do we ask that we are to be born again? No. What do we ask? Something nonsensical.
What is your opinion about practicing spiritualists? Spiritualists.
Very dangerous. Never go near them. Never touch them, even with a barge pole. Horrible things they are. You see, it is very simple to understand that if you get connected with any area whatsoever, if somebody is connected with that area, you are exposed to that. And there can be any indiscriminate aggression on you from that area. You would not know who is coming on you, so never go near them. Maybe you want to talk to your father, say, who is dead. You want to talk to him. Why? Release him, free him. Why do you want to talk to him? Now let him be alone. Let him decide for himself what he wants to do. Why do you want him to hang around? It's too much. It's too much of a load. Then you want to, when you use some medium for that, you do not know, you might get somebody else. It's very dangerous for your children also. So many children have died with this kind of a thing. How many you develop? Especially cancer. This multiple sclerosis or anything like that. All these come from spiritualists. These are all spiritualists. These gurus are spiritualists only. They believe in spirits, they handle the spirits. They're working out is a very dangerous thing. I may be able to tell you sometime how they work it out and how they master it. It's very dangerous. They are like vampires. What they call them, vampires? Most surprising is that there are so many things in English language which we don't have, like witchcraft, and the witches were punished. All sorts of things are there in England, and they talk of all these things, supernatural and all this. But still, I don't know how they go into it.
Somebody asked me a question about 5 minutes ago. Somebody asked me a question on the way up, and that was, is it wrong to be a medium? And this relates to the previous question, so perhaps you could answer that. Mediumship, Mother?
Oh God, I need not tell. It's very, very wrong to play into the hands of the spirits. You are enslaved completely. You don't know what happens to you. Horrible. It creates problems. Absolute. You are an abnormal personality. Never do it. It's sinful. It's sinful. If you accept my words, really it's horrible. Never do that.
What is the difference between Western spirituality and Eastern spirituality?
What is the difference between Western spirituality and Eastern spirituality?
Now the word spirituality means the spiritualist, you mean?
No.
No.
Philosophy.
It's just the same. Spirit is just the same. It's universal. There is no difference at all. I do not find
I'm
any.
not talking about the spirit, I'm talking about spirituality.
Spirituality means the spirit. That is the Atma. You mean the spirit. That is the Atma. The one.
I'm talking, I think, more about the quest towards the spirit.
The search for the spirit.
Search is just the same. But Indians, you see, now, modern Indians are sort of developing, you see. They have to go to that height to see where you have landed yourselves. See, they can short circuit. They can short circuit if they want. But if they want, they may have to go to various types of problems you had with affluence, and they may come back. But it's better to short circuit it, I tell them. While yours is a problem so easy, because you have discovered now that matter is not sufficient. Matter doesn't give us joy. No use running after matter. But still some of them are running after sex, you see, and all that. They have to finish another circuit. Once they are over with that also, then things would be better. But in all this kind of a quest, you have lost something definitely, no doubt. Going through the matter, going through the sex, and going through the power, all these trips, you see, you have lost something which requires correction. While Indians, if they understand with their wisdom that better short circuit is, need not go into plastics and nylons. You see, I have to carry nylon saris from England for Indians. While they have got silks, they want to wear nylon. So this is the difference in the basic development. But Indians, if they take to Sahaj Yoga, they are very good and easy. Especially Indian villagers are excellent. They don't understand all this. They have no mental problems, you see. I don't have to discuss with them all these things. They have not gone into all this nonsense. So they suddenly become beautiful fruits, that's all. So this is a difference of little degrees, I would say, that you have gone to the other extreme and they still have to move to that extreme, or they may finish off and we can achieve results. But your quest is much ardent, very sincere and true. One more thing I always felt, and today also I feel, that really some great souls are born in the West. That's why this is such a sincere desire. They are very sincere people in their desire. Indians, first they come to me for curing, if not for curing, for getting children, if not for that, for jobs, for money, all sorts of things they come up. Or they'll say, my mother is sick, my father is sick, my brother is this, all this goes on. But I have met many seekers in the West who just want realization. Very beautiful people, no doubt. But you have lost something in your seeking, no doubt. Doesn't matter. Kundalini is that ardent desire within you which works it out.
It seems to me that the simpler life we lead, the much easier it is on us. We have what we call free speech, and the more that we think and the more we read, the more confused we become, and that's where our sicknesses and illnesses come from.
Agreed. That's what.
It seems as though the simpler the life we lead, the better we are. We get away from thinking and so on.
It's a good idea of simplicity, but you must understand that also very clearly, because we had somebody who was a hippie, I should say. He was a real hippie, such big grown, he'd have grown hair up to this much and all that. He came to me and scarcely wearing anything in that horrible English cold, you see. I said, now what are you doing to yourself? Why don't you clad yourself properly into proper clothes and better cover yourself? And I was really, didn't understand it. So I said, you are not living in Africa. Why are you dressed up like this? It's like a primitive dress. He said, I want to be primitive. I said, you cannot by dressing up. Your brain is so overdeveloped. How can you be primitive? You see, by dressing up something, do you become that? I mean, it's just a drama. You are playing with yourself. You do not become primitive. This is the point, is that. And then the problem is the brain is thinking the same way, at the same rate, and everything the same, only by changing. It's a thing that's not good, because you should accept as you are. Why to do something like that? But simpler life means this way.
Excuse me, sorry. That's more of an extreme, isn't it?
That's another extreme. But you see, too much of formality, like having a tail coat, or wearing a, what's that called, is morning dress, grey suit, and then having a particular type of a glass for a thing, and all that nonsense, you see, you better finish off. That's a bit too much, going too far with it. And also caring for all these small things like matter, that's something that's grown in you. Preservation of horrible things and useless things and all that makes you really, and then to think about everything, sit down and think how miserable I am. When there is no misery, you just sit down and make miseries by thinking. I don't find anything miserable here. What is there? You see, in India, these people were there. People are so happy, chirping, just like birds, enjoying themselves. They don't have all the things that you have. So, you see, to get out of materialism is a better idea. To say that simpler life means, but you must live beautiful. Beautiful doesn't mean that you should have 10 types of things and all that, but beautifully means you should not be also morbid, stinking, you see, clean and beautiful. You can make beauty out of the soil, anything. With love you can do anything. So, you see, it's all right. I mean, whatever way you dress up or anything makes no difference. That's what I'm trying to say. That it is the inner thing that has to change, not the outward. Again, the Sahaja Yoga is this, that it changes you inside out. A person who is ever formal in dressing is also not good, and a person who is not at all formal is also not good. You have to be in the center. You have to dress up in a proper way. Now, what's the use having a head which has got all the lices and everything in the head, you see, and it's a problem for you. It is, this body is for your use, not for troubling you in any way. Neither you have a head where you have to every day go to a hairdresser, that's also a bit too much. You see, going from this to that, it's too much. So, have a middle course. Dress up as you like. That's not so important, dressing up. But certain decencies of dressing up should be necessary. Sometimes people dress up in such a manner, you know, it's a headache to look at these people. Whatever suits you, which is decent, dignified, you dress up. What is there? Some people it looks nice to have beard, some it doesn't look nice. It's all right. I mean, there's no force on such things. But it helps. Sometimes I've seen. This is also another thing. I've seen some people who are dressing up like something. You see, they come to my house. I find they have spirits. They tell me, Mother, in your presence we are all right. Once we go out, again we get puzzled. I said, all right, you shave off. Come along. Let us see. You change your dress. Sometimes I used to give them my clothes, my husband's clothes to dress up, or my shawl. I said, you wear this shawl. And you see, these bhoots are human beings. So they get lost. They get confused. I said, you confuse them. By your changing your dress, it works sometimes. So we have to play around with them sometimes if you are possessed. It helps. But if you are dressed like a bhoot yourself, you see, then it's funny, isn't it?
Living or dead?
Living, both.
Is it possible for a person to be possessed by another living person?
Yes, you can be. You see these brainwashings, what are these? Brainwashing, they did it in China with Mao. They used to put up Mao's big photographs everywhere. One went there, and it all changed after my visit. But before that, big photographs, you have to put up your head and see to him and read. Everywhere you go, Mao, 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 it goes on. You can. You see, people have done it. Most of them do it. They possess people, they mesmerize. You see, what are these gurus? They are living, they are not dead bodies, are they? They possess you also. They can possess you. They know your weaknesses, they pamper your ego sometimes. They sometimes hamper your superego, they can possess you. So they can possess you very much more than the dead spirits can. And very difficult to get rid of such possessions, because you accept them, you identify yourself with them, is a difficult task. It's true, they can.
This what is going in Russia, that the Russians are being possessed by the...
Is this what's happening in Russia? Are the authorities possessing the people?
It's everywhere, I think. It's not only in Russia, but everywhere it's happening to some degrees here and some degrees there. I must tell you one thing about Russia. I've been to Russia. That Lenin was a realized soul. I must confess, he was a realized soul, although he got deviated and all. You see, the authorities are funny, no doubt, but the people are very innocent, you know. They are kept out of all mischiefs. Somehow, thanks, only a few are horrible, but on the whole, it has not spread to everyone. Like in England, I would say everybody is trying to have 7 wives and kill them, some sort of a thing. Everybody has become a king in, you see, democracy becomes demonocracy. You see, everybody wants to be a demon then. We have a right, what's wrong? So that freedom is taken away. So because of this kind of a control, the people are very innocent. Though, I mean, some people will go to hell, no doubt. But the rest of them can be saved. I gave realization to many people in Russia. You'll be surprised. In Poland I gave realization to so many people. Yes, they are simpler people. They lead a simple life. They have no problems also like us, because there are no solutions, so they don't think. They do not complicate themselves. It's like on a ship if you travel. No problems, no solutions, no problems. You just sit there. Whatever is available on the ship is available, otherwise you jump in the sea. That's the only solution. So nobody thinks about it, just they relax. What else will they do? That's what it is. That's why, you see, in a way, they are a help also. So, you see, the too much freedom also gives us this kind of a nonsense abandonment. We don't know how far to go with our freedom. We don't know what we torture ourselves with this freedom. I think some children do want that parents should tell them, don't do this. They like it. You see, they want to have little help from the parents on this, but better not do it. But if a father comes out, I'm very generous, he gives him a whiskey, all right, have it. You want money, all right, have it. You want this, you can have it. You can have a car, you can have this, do what you please. Finish. That boy is finished once for all. Too much freedom without maturity, without realization, can be very dangerous. Yes.
Yes, Grant.
Can astrology have some bearing on one's life?
Can astrology have some bearing on one's life?
Before realization, not after. Then you see the whole drama.
Industrialization is a useful path for India to take in the light of the Western experience.
Do you think industrialization for India is a useful path in view of the Western experience?
Why should they go pass through that?
Thank you.
It's going too far, you see. It's better, you see, I would suggest that only there are 2 countries now who are making handmade things, really. Because you think too much, your hands do not work. There's no deftness left in the hand. You cannot do anything with your hands. I mean, we have lost hands, as only the brains, you see, are there. Out of which 50% is a waste matter. 50% is there, something sensible, or maybe 30%. So the people who are working with their hands, let them work with their hands. Why do you want to have all of them people doing things with the machine? Now you need things with the hands, let them make for you the things with the hands, and you give them nylons and they'll give you cottons. What's wrong with that? You export some nylons from here and they'll send you some nice cottons that you like. Instead, there's no need to industrialize them to that extent. You see, to some extent is all right, but not to that extent. We must understand where you have landed. It won't be industrialized. By temperament, they cannot. It's not easy. India is a big country like an elephant, you see. Something happens to its tail, it just brushes aside. Then something comes towards the trunk, it brushes aside. It's not easy. It moves in its own dignity, in its own pace. Rather difficult.
Thank you.
Yes.
A minute ago you said some people will go to hell, no doubt. How do you mean that? What is hell? How do you see it?
You said some people will go to hell, no doubt. But what do you mean by the fact that they will go to hell?
I don't want to talk about that nonsense. You can read Mr. William Blake. He will tell you. It's horrible. I talk of horrible things at such a beautiful time, isn't it? You can read William Blake. He's the one who has brought it out very clearly in English language. What's it?
Yeah.
In light of the fact that this year is the year of the disabled person, I'd like to know your opinion, or hear your opinion, on the role of the disabled person, in particular, the severely mentally retarded person.
Are you from UN? Are you working in the UN?
No, I'm not.
Because all your questions are coming from the UN side, so I was rather wondering. No, for the retarded, the mentally retarded, disabled people. Some of them may be realized souls who have been attacked by these evil forces whom we do not want to criticize. You see, these all evil forces has opened lots of spaces which they should never have touched, and all these evil forces are there and they attack. Mostly I have seen all the great saints and all the great seekers are attacked in their childhood only by various methods and by various things. So there could be many of them who would be realized souls among them. They'll be definitely helped if you people rise, and if you get your realization, they'll be helped automatically, because you'll be used as channels for the divine power to flow to them. Wherever your attention will be, they will be helped, no doubt. But not all of them. And even if they are, some of them will be handicapped, they'll get their realization all right. They can cure themselves. So many handicapped can be cured by Sahaja Yoga. But first of all, you should be all right. First you become all right. If you are handicapped, how can you help the handicapped? So you should not be a handicapped Sahaja Yogi. If you really want to do that, then first of all you become a proper Sahaja Yogi, a very able Sahaja Yogi. Otherwise, half-baked Sahaja Yogis are neither here nor there. All right? So you have to become very good so that you can help them. By celebrating years and all that, you don't help much, I think. You help very superficially. But by really becoming yourself able, you do help them. And also, directly you can help them. You are really able.
I think you missed my point.
What was it?
I think I would like to know how they can help us.
Can they, and how, and can they help us, and how?
Why do you want to have help from them? We have to help them.
That's a question, yes.
Is it?
I'm actually asking...
We the Sahaja Yogis, who are able people, can help them. Not that they should help us. Why, poor things, they are already suffering.
Yes, but don't you feel that they have a role on this earth?
Of course they have, and what I am saying that you must really give them their meaning by improving their invalid condition and retarded condition. You can improve. That's what I am saying. They have a role. But first of all, you have the role. What I am saying, I say, you do not shift your mind from yourself to these. Main thing is yourself. First you become capable. Then you can help them. Their role can be really manifested better if you become capable. All right? So you can help them and treat them and improve them.
He's suggesting that they may have a special role to play. It's a very common view among a lot of the literature that they have come on this earth in this condition or had this problem in order to perform some special role. For example, the people who are Mongol people, such like, they've got a special role. This is a common view in the West.
No, not necessarily. Of course, there could be some realized souls, as I told you. There could be some saints also. But I mean, this might be just a view taken just to get some money for them, maybe. I don't know. But it's not everyone. Not everyone. You see, just to incite some pity or maybe some glorification. But you have to find out there may be some realized souls also. Not I'm saying there are not. There may be some realized souls who are attacked, as I told you in the beginning only. There may be. But it's not a general thing you can say. You see, Sahaja Yoga is very wise. It knows who is realized, who is not realized, who is a saint. You can find out. But it is not an sort of a general view of anything. Is you have to find out yourself through your vibrations.
Are there many Ayurvedic doctors in India? Is that correct pronunciation? Indian doctors?
Are there many Ayurvedic doctors in India?
No, lots of them. But now they are going out of circulation because we Indians are becoming English. What to do?
You approve of herbalism?
Hmm?
You approve of herbalism?
Yes, Ayurveda is closer to Sahaja Yoga, much more, because these three things that they talk of the imbalances of the three within us, is the Sahaja Yoga three powers, you see. So it's very close. I don't know if they know the connection, but we can connect Ayurveda to Sahaja Yoga very easily than anything else. There's no doubt about it. But see, the problem is, you see, all these herbs and all that they have talked about may be existing here also, but nobody knows about them. It's the problem, you see. Then you can't get all these herbs from there. And what is the need? Sahaja Yoga itself cures you. You don't need any medicines. Seldom you need medicines in Sahaja Yoga. Like for liver, we have a thing called as makoi. We grow in India. It grows anywhere. Maybe you might be growing it yourself. Or next time when Warren comes there, I'll give him some plants. If your government allows, he can bring them here or some seeds. And if that is the thing, they make Live 52 out of it, you can just use that plant and you can eat it and it's very good for your liver. So it's very simple.
Yes.
In the Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna to be without the three gunas.
In the Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna, you must be without the three gunas.
How is it possible to be enlightened, to gain enlightenment if you're not using the sattva?
How is it possible to gain enlightenment if you're not using the sattva?
Is the Kundalini you use, which is beyond. Kundalini passes through the Sattva Guna, the center. But it takes you beyond. You go above it. You become Gunatit, you transcend. Because you become all that. You see, your desire becomes enlightened. You don't have to desire. It just works. You don't have to act. It acts. It acts for you. And Sattva Guna is the one where you have to be religious. You have to be in the center, but you remain. Your Sattva Guna gets enlightened, you don't have to be. You become yourself, the religion. You don't get tempted. You don't have to be. Like my own grandchild, she asked me, grandmother, did you have to learn this stupid subject called moral science? I said, why? It's so stupid. It says, don't steal, don't tell lies. Who does that? Only maybe servants might be doing. Nobody does that. Why should they tell us? I don't like it. And I didn't know really how to explain to them. They said, why tell all these things to us? It is not a good thing to tell, you don't like it. You go beyond. Like, I don't say that you don't drink, all right? I never say that. After realization you find you won't drink yourself. Because that religion is enlightening. Don't smoke after that. get smoking absolutely to the minimum and just forget it. Because that religion is born in you. You do not like it. Your likes and dislikes change, your priorities change. As I told you the other day, that when you are walking in the dirt and filth, you have to close your nose. You are a human being. But a horse does not do that. After realization, the sin you cannot bear. Just you don't have it. You become sinless. Alright? Even your sattva guna is a thing which you keep, you look after. But there you become beyond. You don't have to keep it. You are that. Alright?
What happens when the Kundalini, Mother, passes up through the head? What does it do then? Where does it go?
What happens to the Kundalini when it passes through the head?
It is not the whole of it doesn't come out, you see. It's like many strings, see, in a row. And few start coming and few start coming and few start coming. And then Kundalini stays at a point, starts growing and growing and growing like that. And then it flows down. Then again it grows and flows down like a tree that grows and comes down.
Would you say that the value of the acupuncture... Thank you.
Acupuncture is another horrible thing, where you just drain out your sympathetic nervous system. You see, you have to work with the parasympathetic, which is the source, not with the sympathetic. They look after the sympathetic. Actually, it was started by Lao Tse. Just imagine, a man who was a realized soul. You see, everything going into waste, as I told you. He talked of acupuncture for people who were realized souls. Lao Tse was such a great realized soul, he was a Zen man, sort of supporting that sort of a thing. Tao is nothing but Tao is the same. Now you have to become, he said, 100 times he said you have to become and become and become, he said. Even Martin Luther said the same thing. See, but what are the Protestants like now? What about the Christians who are Catholics now? Everything just the same mess. So these people just understood that you have to put a pin in between. But unless and until there is the parasympathetic in connection, what's the use, you see? So the whole thing is reversal. On the contrary, if you have gone to acupuncture, it's a difficult task. Horrible. Beg pardon?
Chiropractic.
Ask the chiropractor. You touch somebody's head, you touch somebody's feet and all that. It's very, very dangerous. You don't know how to protect yourself. None of these doctors know how to protect themselves. The psychologists are worst of all. They come in contact with all pathological cases and they become pathological cases. That's how you get Freud.
But Mother, is it all right to pursue your profession as long as you know how to protect yourself?
Is it okay to pursue your profession so long as you know how to protect yourself?
Yes, yes. And if you keep your spirit, you understand much more about your profession. You become much more kindly, compassionate. There's nothing to be given up. If you are not holding on to anything, you don't give up anything. You see, every profession, everything is for delivering sahaja. Even your television, your camera takes my photograph, multiplies me into so many. It can go to people, they can use it. It's so simple. Television is another thing. All these things are for sahaja, for emitting sahaja vibrations. All these things can be used if you become the source of that, or if you become the channel yourself.
Don't you agree enlightenments are different for each person? There is not a capital E enlightenment. There are grades.
Are there grades of enlightenment?
No grades as such. Only it's like the candle is enlightened in a beautiful lamp. Now, depends on if the lamp is very dirty, then it's not so clear cut, all right? When the lamp is cleaned out, then it is better. The light is better. It's like that. There's no gradation. The spirit is the same in everyone. Only in some people it shines better. In some it is halfway. In some way it just comes up and goes down, and in some it's not at all seen. Depends on the quality of the glass that is there. The spirit is the same.
We should finish now.
One more.
One more.
So what you're really saying that until you become enlightened, there is really no need for these questions because they don't really mean anything. And after you've become enlightened, you don't have to ask the questions anyway because you know them.
You are reaching that stage now, I think. Reaching that stage. You should reach that stage where you just become. Just really reach that stage of becoming is a very good idea. Should all ask for that. Ask for that and get it. That's what you have been seeking all these days, and you should have it. Just like Sermon on the Mount, I feel. You're all sitting down here, but that sermon really was never understood. Was never understood, and we have crucified him again and again. Now let us get our resurrection. May God bless you. Now, I think you all will be having your lunch and thing together. We are sitting down, and there are Saj Yogis here who should raise their hands, and people should know they have got badges with them. Can you stand up and show them the badge you have? Now, and you people can, each one of you should gather around any one of them, sit down and share your lunch. They will also have their lunch and talk and eat. Ask them questions, and whatever you want to do, I would like you to have a free thing. And also ask them how to correct, what are the problems. If there's any problem that you want to discuss with them, it will be a good idea.
Offer them perhaps to go into meditation after lunch. You could lead them into meditation.
After lunch, we can go into meditation also and work out. All right? First you have your lunch, rest for a while. I'll come down again, talk to them, understand things. And they will tell you what they have gained out of Sahaja Yoga, how they have worked it out. They have also passed through the same things as you have done. They have also gone to so many gurus, and they have done guru shopping, everything, reading, everything. That the only thing is they have finished with it. That's all. So you can ask them and talk to them. Actually, they know more about them, these gurus than I do, because I didn't go to any one of them. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Enjoy.